everyone. I am Shiloh Baker, and I am so excited about this webinar today. In my search for healing, I was led from one new discovery to another until I finally found something that worked for me, and that was energy healing. So the name of this webinar today is Travel Light, Heal Your Emotional Baggage. I had a mother growing up who became mentally ill when I was the tender age of 13. My parents divorced, and all of this, plus other life difficulties, spiraled me into a depression where much of my life I was in and out of. Next, the health problems began, and some of them were unexplainable. I had a large list of symptoms, but there were no known diagnoses. I was miserable for years. I felt trapped in a body that felt horrible. I would lay in bed at night feeling miserable. And many times I would ask my husband for a blessing. And I would feel peace or comfort for a time, and then eventually most of it came back. I started with the traditional approaches to healing years of depression and suffering. I went to psychiatrists, therapists, took medications, but nothing really seemed to help. I also suffered from 9 years of intense body itching and terrible rashes. They were just all over. And my search led me to natural remedies and healing techniques. And eventually I was treated by a naturopathic doctor for 2 years. So I got a little better, but still something was amiss. And it was then that I learned of emotions and how they can get trapped inside of our bodies. And so during lots of prayers and fasting, I realized that while the blessings gave me comfort and peace, the reason these problems kept coming back is because I had to learn how to deal with them on my own. That is part of the life experience, to learn, to grow, and most importantly, to learn from these experiences and then learn to release the need to have them and the emotions behind them. Doctors, prescription drugs, wellness consultants, and a naturopathic still could not relieve me of the itching. They were all baffled, and so was I. But during a general conference in 2007, Boyd K. Packer said, "Life is more fair than you realize." And it hit me like a ton of bricks. How is this fair? 7 years ago, as an answer to prayer, I was led to emotional healing as a result of my desire to learn more about healing. And energy therapy is a quick, easy, painless way of removing emotions. It's clean. We don't have to go and dredge up all of the past to heal. But you know what? We'll get more into that here soon. So today, I'm emotionally happy and full of joy more often than not. I feel more fulfillment and joy in my roles, wife, mother, and everything else that I do. I'm so grateful for the blessings of energy healing. And my marriage is stronger than ever. My relationship with my children is strong and beautiful. And I feel more able to give of myself and to give love to others because I'm not held back by my own world of negativity anymore. But most importantly, I feel like the powerful and dynamic woman that God created me to be. I feel more able to live my life's mission. And so this is why I'm putting on this webinar for you guys. Your perspective is vital to your happiness. Some, blind to the bountiful opportunities around them, live lives of sadness and despair with brief moments of joy. Be alive to the abundant potential that surrounds you so that you live a life of peace and happiness with periods of challenging growth. And that was Richard G. Scott. So we are divine children of our Heavenly Father. When we were created, God put inside each of us a unique blueprint of who we are and our divine potential. Carol Tuttle said, at a DNA level, we have a blueprint for a life of wholeness and joy, a blueprint for physical wellness, emotional harmony, mental clarity, and spiritual oneness with our higher selves and Christ. But we're human. We have so much that we've experienced in our life. So what has your journey brought you on? I'm sure many of them have been dark and thorny. So baggage is our fears, which cause heaviness. Everyone has experienced the hardship of life, relationships, pain, fear, physical pain, and hardship. What are some of those things you're dealing with right now? Is it emotional baggage? Is it physical pain and suffering? Is it spiritual or mental stuckness or agony? Do you feel numb or just want to feel again? Whichever the reason is, I believe strongly that you are here because your spirit wants to heal. So, this baggage, it comes from so many different places. Sometimes parents, spouses, or relationships give us baggage. Baggage is the darkness of emotions, thoughts, beliefs, and unforgiveness. When we carry this baggage around, it is uncomfortable because it blocks the light from illuminating us. But, and I'm going to give you a quote from Chiko Okazaki from her book, Lighten Up. She says, light doesn't compete with darkness. It dispels darkness. Suppose you're in a dark room and you want to get rid of the darkness. You can't put it in a box. You can't sweep it out the door. And it really doesn't work to decide, I can live with this darkness. It's my darkness after all. In fact, dark is beautiful. And we reach the point of the ridiculous if we get more people involved and organize a committee to study the darkness, as it were. The more you grapple with the dark, the further you are from getting away from it. Only light dispels darkness. Darkness and light can't occupy the same space. But some of us are better at hiding our baggage. Others may look together and well-adjusted, but they may not be. Don't make assumptions. Everyone's pain is personal. Sometimes we become comfortable with our baggage. Adolescence is a baggage-prone time period. A lot of us have childhood things that have caused a lot of pain. So I sent an email to those who registered for the webinar. And in this email, it was like a fill in the blank type questionnaire. And I want to kind of just touch on that for a minute. So it gives you a good idea of how you may be carrying some baggage still, even though a lot of times we don't realize that we are. Sometimes just asking the right questions of ourselves will help us to realize that we have it. So the first little section had some questions. And then the second part had yes or no questions. And if you answered yes to any of those yes or no questions, you definitely have some baggage. And, the top part also gives you an idea of some of what you're still carrying. Okay, so let's also ask a question of you guys. Okay, so I want you to think about this. You can write this number down if you'd like to kind of give you an idea of where you are. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how happy are you? Do you think it can get better? Where would you like to be? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how successful do you feel? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Okay, write down where you are and then write down the number you want to be. Okay, the next one is on a scale of 1 to 10, how much energy do you feel? And this is without taking any energy drinks or anything to stimulate your energy other than something like, good food or whatever, nutrition. How much do you feel? And then write down where you would like to be. Okay, and the next one is on a scale of 1 to 10, how much Do you love yourself? Truly love who you are, being in your own skin, your body, your mind, your spirit. How much do you love yourself? Write down that number and then write down the number that you want to be. If you have a lower number than 6, you definitely want to get rid of some of the baggage that's keeping you from answering these questions and living into the life that you really want to live. And this baggage is energy. Let's talk about energy. So everything is energy. But energy is feeling, emotion, spiritual essence. It's the substance around us, in us, and what makes us that we cannot see, but that we are aware of. So let me give you an example. Oh, I'm one slide behind. Okay. So I want you to take a look at your hands. We all know our hands pretty well. And sometimes I'll tell this to people and they say, I don't know the back of my hand very well. Well, I know that you know at least a part of your body pretty well. We study ourselves here and there. Can't help it. So right now, you know, it's physical. You can see it, you can feel it, and you recognize it. You can most likely recognize your own hand in a lineup of, 20, 50 hands, and you can pick it every time. But if you were to take your hand and you were to put it underneath a magnifying lens and magnify it by 850,000 times, you're looking at molecules. And if you zoom in even more, you're looking at atoms and a lot of empty space in between all of these molecules and atoms. And it doesn't look like your hand anymore, but it still is. It's the energy that makes you. We are energy, and everything is made of energy. Emotions are energy, dark or light, positive or negative. Everything that is alive pulsates with energy. And even some quantum physicists acknowledge the existence of an aura, or what science calls an electromagnetic field. And this is generated by the body's biological processes. I have a friend who is having a really hard time with the whole invisible thing. How do we know that, we're made of this energy? How do we know how it works? That kind of thing. And as we were talking, we were in a building and we both had to use the restroom. So we walked into the bathroom, and when we were finished, we washed our hands. So we went to the sink and we had to wave our hands in front of the faucet to turn on the water. And then to get the soap, we had to wave a hand in front of the dispenser to have it dispense soap into our palms. And then when we finished lathering and rinsing, we walked to the paper towel machines and waved our hands in front of it to release the paper towel into our hands. And so I explained to her such a perfect example of how do those machines know when to work for us? How do they know? How do they feel? It's energy. But this is just one example. In Colossians 1:16 through 17, it says, "For by him were all things created, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him." Okay, so going back to the baggage, it's emotional. So how exactly do emotions or even the words of specific emotions affect us? So Dr. Masaru Emoto is he was a famous scientist, he died just recently, who froze waters with certain words to see how the water would freeze. He also performed many other experiments on various waters that were clean or dirty just to see what would happen. So water from clear mountain springs and streams had beautifully formed crystalline structures. while the crystals of polluted or stagnant water are deformed and distorted. Distilled water exposed to classical music takes delicate, symmetrical crystalline shapes. When the words "thank you" were taped to a bottle of distilled water, they made beautiful shapes. The words "thank you" in different languages created different styles of crystals, but they were all beautiful. Bach's Goldberg Variations, it's the name of music that was inspired and composed out of gratitude to the man who it was named for. But interestingly, the frozen crystals of the words "thank you" had a similar shape to the crystals formed when the water was exposed to Bach's Goldberg Variations. So when he exposed water to Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel, the water crystals split in two for heartbreak. Water is energy, and energy is intelligent. When water samples are bombarded with heavy metal music or labeled with negative words, or when negative thoughts and emotions are focused intentionally upon them, the water does not form crystals at all, but it displays a chaotic, fragmented structure. So when water is treated with aromatic floral oils, the water crystals tend to mimic the shape of the original flower. When the words "Adolf Hitler" were taped to a bottle of distilled water, it was scattered and disorganized. But of great interest for healing and just day-to-day well-being is the significant effect of water crystals of negative words and ideas. So here you can see the results of taping the words "you fool" to a container of distilled water. Now, interestingly, the pattern made by "you fool" was almost identical to the pattern that emerged when heavy metal music was played. And Dr. Emoto wonders in his book whether perhaps heavy metal musicians look upon people as fools. Something to ponder. Well, why does this matter? So depending on who you talk to, we're between 60 to 80% water. So how do words and emotions affect us? Science has discovered that forgiving others and ourselves actually affects our DNA. The discovery that DNA can change is of immense importance. The new scientific field of epigenetics supports teachings that we can consciously use our emotions to affect our DNA and our immune response. But even the American Medical Association admits that up to 85% of illnesses are due to stress. Okay, so emotions can get trapped inside of us. Let me give you a quote from David Stewart in his book, Healing Oils of the Bible. He says, "Emotions that we have not faced, accepted, nor dealt with are stored as repressed emotional energy, waiting for a future time when we can learn from them. Since they are filed in our bodies in places of which our conscious mind is not aware, they keep us reminded of their existence in a variety of negative ways. They can cause pain, illness, disease, and malfunction on any and all levels: physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual." Bruce R. McConkie states the following. He said, "The book of life is the record of the acts of men, written in their own bodies. It is the record engraven on the very bones, sinews, and flesh of the mortal body. That is, every thought, word, and deed has an effect on the human body, and all of these leave their marks." So then you have generational stuff, but I kind of want to give an example before I move into the generational stuff of how emotions can layer inside of us and cause a specific issue. So on the screen, you see here two women who have depression. You have woman one and at the top and woman two. And so at the top, um, the mother was depressed. There was childhood abuse. She was afraid of men. She had anxiety. She lacked confidence. And there was probably other things layered within this, but this just gives you an idea that her journey led her to depression from these specific things and the stories and the traumas that went with it. Lady number two, her depression, well, they might have the same symptoms and maybe even take the same medication or have the same needs for healing. Her depression was very different. Hers is caused by feeling unworthy, of anxiety, of comparing herself to others and never feeling like she measures up, and feeling very fearful about everything. But also, she's in an abusive relationship. Now, abuse is not always a part of depression, but this just gives you an illustration of how each person's journey is very different. And also, any one of these issues that these two ladies are dealing with could also be generational strings. And we'll talk about that now. So most people have as much as 25% generational baggage, and some people have as much as 80%. So my family has a history of obesity, and I struggled in the past with addictions to sugar. And fairly recently, over the last couple of years, I found out that sugar actually turns to alcohol in the blood. And so, therefore, my family history of alcoholics and diabetics really makes a lot of sense. But what does your genetic makeup contain? Is it a family history of anger, abuse, depression, addictions? Addictions can show up, even though it's a family trait, it can show up different in every single person. So, how do you know what's generational and what's yours? Well, to answer that, I'll share a story. A woman always cuts a large chunk off the end of a ham. One day, her husband asked her why she did that. And she said she didn't know, that her mom always did. And so they decided to call her mother and ask her why she always cut the end of the ham off. So they called mom and she said she didn't know, her mother always did. The end of the story is that they called grandma, and grandma said that she cut the end of the ham off because her pan was never big enough to fit the whole ham in it. So scientifically, this is known as biogenetic decoding. So what in your life is a pattern or a negative emotion or other baggage that you're keeping with that you really don't know why? It could be, terror of spiders and you've never gotten bit by a spider, or terrified of the ocean and you've never had an ocean experience, or fears of drowning, or whatever. To you, it may seem irrational, but most likely it's generational. Because it made sense to that ancestor that dealt with it. So, all right, our beliefs actually block us too. So let's talk about that for a minute. I want you to see this picture of this stick man. So this illustration can kind of help you to better understand how our beliefs can become negative programming. So you see how there's a line across the top of his head. So this is, a regular person, and that line is actually about right in between the ears. So if we were to say everything from the ears up is your conscious mind, and everything from the ears down is your subconscious mind. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So here's an idea. So at age 8, or up until the age of 8, it was almost like we don't have this top at all, this conscious mind. We are actually just accepting everything, and we accept that everything around us is normal. All the beliefs, we're gaining them, we're following by example. And we don't realize that sometimes we're gaining false and limiting beliefs. Now, if you had a really good family growing up, you probably didn't get as many of those. If you struggled a lot in your childhood and you had a family that was really difficult, you may have a lot more of those limiting beliefs as well. So, from around the age of 8 and up, we get this conscious mind to come into the picture. And so, let's say you want to do something or make a change in your life. All of a sudden, your conscious mind's like, okay, yes, I want to make this change. I'm going to, make progress and move forward. And the subconscious, with all of the programming and everything that says, no, 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 that's not acceptable. That's not the way we do things, starts to give you some resistance because it goes against what you were programmed to believe, think, or do. We can also create our own negative programming. It doesn't even have to be anyone around us. We can create it ourselves by our negative thinking and our fear-based thinking. Jennifer Loudon said the following. She said, "Your perceptions, fears, and beliefs are obscuring your vision. They are invisible, and yet they block your way. We humans are creatures of habit. We get into and stay in ruts. Seeing those ruts is how you create your life. One way to see them is to rededicate yourself daily to taking responsibility for being the agent of your destiny. Don't wait, don't blame, don't worry." End of quote. So, how do you know if you have trapped emotions? Well, let's start with the first one. I want you to think of an experience that was very difficult for you in your life. Can be from childhood and on, can be old, it can be new, whatever comes to your mind. I want you to sit and think about it for a moment. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to think of something that brings up as much of a 6 and on, something that difficult. It was pretty hard. Now, when you do this, do the feelings come back with the memory? Then they're still trapped. Okay, the next one, next way you know that you have trapped emotions is you get disease. Notice how I spelled that word. I split up dis-ease, because that's what it is. Our body is telling us that we have something inside that is causing the problem. You can also get other side effects, such as issues with money, any financial issues, worries, weight issues, relationship problems, confusion, mental stress, and beliefs. Remember our baggage form that I sent? These are all trapped emotions. This is all baggage. So, where do these negative emotions come from? So, the first one is the effects of sin. Now, even if you've repented, sometimes the effects of sin can still be with you because you have not forgiven yourself. The next one is your external environment. I'm sorry, I mixed that one up on when I typed it up. So your internal environment. Your internal environments. Illness can develop as a consequence of behavioral patterns and attitudes that we do not realize are biologically toxic until they've already become so. I want you to think of it this way. Where you are now is not related to your current thoughts and emotions. It's actually related to your past. So how you think right now will affect your future. Gandhi says, what you think, you become. And then the other way that you can trap these emotions is your external environment. What kinds of experiences or places do we surround ourselves with? What is the overall feeling or message of the movies, books, pictures, or people that we allow in our homes and everyday environment? Whether we choose to accept it or not, we are affected by the feelings and messages of the environment we live in. But here's the good news. I do have good news. I know the first part was like, wow, I'm really, really heavy. I have all this baggage. The good news is you no longer have to carry it. Are you ready to learn how to get it released? So, before I get completely into that, I want to do a little bit of prep work. And so, let's talk about some things that we can do daily to keep our lives uplifting and be in a space of improvement. So, the first thing is what I call take it and turn it around. So, if we view every experience as a blessing and a remedy to serve our well being, it really changes our perceptions. Now, I'm not saying that you're going through heck and it's miserable and it's hard and you're sitting there, why can't I see this as a blessing? Sometimes we can't in the moment. Sometimes we just have to get through it and learn and grow. And then when we look back afterwards and we get through and we've learned the lessons that we need to learn from it, then we can look and see how that became a remedy or a blessing. And so listen to your inner feelings or your pain. What are these things trying to tell you? Are they like the Wizard of Oz hiding behind a curtain with no real power? Or are they messengers of change? So think of one of the worst experiences you've had in your life. I just had you do this earlier. Maybe you can bring that same experience up. But now I'm going to tell you something you can do to kind of fix it. This is just a beginning. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to get there higher, 6 and up. Okay. Now, I want you to turn it around. And I want you to think that no matter how difficult, how did that experience make you a better person? How did that experience help you to grow, change your perspectives, and change your life in a positive way? Now, depending on your experience, you may or may not be able to do all of that right now while we're listening to the webinar, but think about it afterwards. Spend some time really switching it around, and then it will no longer be that number that it first was. If it was a 6, it will probably become a 4 or a 3. If it was a 10, you've probably made it go down, and you'll be the one who can judge on the number that you switched it to. But perception really matters, and changing your paradigm helps heal you tremendously. All right, develop some Pollyanna power. So just like Pollyanna in the movie and the Disney movie, there was also a Pollyanna book. She developed the glad game. And so instead of focusing on the negative, and she had a lot of negative in her young life, she lost both her mom and her dad. And she went to live with an aunt who really didn't like her very much. And she had a lot of this negativity going around, but yet she always found a reason to be glad no matter the situation. Proverbs 15:13 says, "A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken." Proverbs 17:22 says, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones." Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." Now, the mind is like a record playing the records based on our DNA, the way we were raised, life experiences, the thoughts we entertain, and the list goes on. But it just constantly is playing things. The records affect how we react, our decisions, and so forth. So, did you know that we have an average of 60,000 thoughts a day? And get this, 90% of those thoughts are the same ones you thought yesterday. And over 77% of these are negative thoughts. So even if you just change consciously what you're thinking on a regular basis, that will help so much. So your present thoughts are the most important. Tune in often to your feelings. So notice your feelings first. Sometimes I don't understand why I don't feel good. I feel awful. Notice what your thoughts were. What were you thinking of? Where were you going in your mind? Consciously change it then. Notice your thoughts when you daydream, when you're around other people, around your family members, when you're driving in traffic. And those are just a few times or places. But the point is to become more aware of what is playing on the stage of your mind. Now, don't panic if you're, I'm thinking about negative things. I'm thinking about things that are making me feel awful. Don't panic. Just change it. Panic and force and beating ourselves up, all of those things are negative energies, and it makes it harder for you to make a change when you're so hard on yourself. So just be patient with yourself. Just recognize, tune in, become aware, and then just change it. And it's real quick. You can just quickly change it. You can have a few things as backup, a song, your favorite story, thinking of if it's about a person, you can think about, let's say it's a spouse, you're angry with the spouse, think about the day you got married. You can always have a backup of things that you think about whenever you're having difficulties. Okay, another tool in my emotional healing toolkit is meditation. So, a woman goes to her doctor and says, I'm exhausted. And the doctor says, you've got to take care of yourself. Take some more time for yourself. And the woman slumps in her chair and sighs, ugh, that's one more person I've got to take care of. Noise is a part of daily living, especially if you're working or if you're a mother. Most of us don't have that quiet around us all the time. But by ignoring and just, dealing and just retreating into the noise, that is actually not healing or helpful. It may drown out your thoughts temporarily, but it does not refresh you. So inevitably, these thoughts, worries, problems, and feelings we were trying to avoid will all come back to us right around the times that we are quiet for the first time in the day. And many, many times that is bedtime. So if you have racing thoughts at bedtime and you can't shut down the mind, you will benefit tremendously with meditation. All of us will benefit from meditation. But specifically, if that's a problem you have, you definitely want to try to start doing this. Meditation is key to spiritual growth. Now, prayer is talking to God. But meditation is receiving God. Meditation raises, cleans, and aligns your spiritual centers, your creative centers, your mind, your body, and your emotions. It brings you into balance and raises your vibration, or in other words, opens you up to more light from God, and it makes you more radiant, and you feel better. We all feel better when we are spiritually connected. So doing meditation, either in the morning, evening, or anytime you can catch a few minutes, it's a refreshing way to become a more balanced person. Now, it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be hours of sustained silence. 1 to 15 minutes daily. And yes, I said 1 minute. 1 to 15 minutes. You have to start somewhere. You can move it up a little bit by little bit, but you have to start somewhere. Doing this daily is enough to keep your mind, body, and spirit healthy and connected. So find a quiet, relaxing place. You can meditate in the shower, or as soon as you wake up in the morning and you're still sitting in bed, if you're on your way to work and you forgot before you left the house, take 5 minutes in the car. It doesn't matter. Just take some time to meditate. So let me give you a few ideas. To start your meditation, get in a comfortable, quiet, like I said, spot, and allow yourself to get in a relaxed state. Focus on a single word, such as love, peace, or relax. And you can also focus on just breathing. You don't have to focus on a word. Breathe in the light and exhale the darkness. When in a relaxed state, just take one long, deep breath as if it's your last, and surrender to the feeling of total relaxation. In Psalms 46:10, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Meditation is the perfect time to commune with Heavenly Father. It's also a perfect time to focus on things that you are grateful for, starting with your breath, lungs, heart, mind, and life. Then visualize and be grateful for each thing in your life one at a time. Your mind doesn't have to be completely blank. In fact, sometimes that's too much to ask of someone. So these are things that you can focus on as you are bringing all of your energy and your thoughts into alignment and being more in control and more aware. With regular daily meditation, you'll find that you feel regenerated and renewed. You'll feel less crabby and impatient and more connected to yourself and your loved ones. You'll also find that you have more gratitude for the blessings in your life and less negativity or darkness. Now, I guess I moved a little slow here on switching. All right. Some other ways of relieving your negative emotions are essential oils. And the reason that these work like this is because they all work on the cellular level. And these are all provided in nature. Okay, so essential oils, homeopathic remedies, Bach flower remedies or flower essences, and energy therapy. Okay, but before we get into the energy therapy part, because we're doing some of the prep work now, doing meditation actually does relieve some of those emotional baggages, things that you're carrying. It does relieve that. But this next thing that I'm going to share is also really, really huge for anyone who wants to heal their life. And it is forgiveness. A lot of times we don't realize that we're holding on to grudges, or maybe sometimes we do, but we have to forgive or we can't let go of all the other stuff. It's very tied in together. So I always tell people, spend some time praying and thinking and pondering about who you need to forgive. Take a notebook to the side of your bed, get down on your knees, pray, write down everyone that comes to your mind that you need to forgive. Also, it's not just people that we need to forgive. Sometimes it's God. Sometimes we're holding grudges against God because, life, He didn't come and help us like we thought, or life isn't showing up the way we wanted it to. And we tend to take things out on Him, not always purposely, but sometimes. And then also, we need to forgive situations. Maybe you've forgiven everyone involved in the situation, but you still think about it and it still bothers you. That's because you haven't forgiven the situation for showing up in your life and causing you problems. So write down the situations that you need to forgive. Now, write it on something that you can tear off and throw away. Because once you go through this visualization, you won't need that anymore. It's done. So I'm going to walk you through the visualization. So I want you to close your eyes. Think about a person that you need to forgive right now. And then I want you to imagine that you're in a beautiful room. I want you to look around a minute and see what the decorations are like. And I want you to notice 3 chairs. All right. I want you to invite 3 people, living or dead, into the room. Anyone that you love and want to be there as a witness to your forgiveness. As each person comes into the room, I want you to greet them, shake hands, give them a hug, and ask them to have a seat. I'll give you a minute. And now I want you to invite the person into the room that you need to forgive. I want you to talk to them for a minute. Tell them all the things that you forgive them of. And you can say, even though you make me so mad, even though you still are making me angry, even though you still treat me badly, or even though whatever it may be, I want you to know that I forgive you and I choose to understand you. I don't want to hold on to this anymore. And so I forgive you. Now, you can probably get a good feel at this point whether or not that person forgives you. If there was any wrongdoing on your part, sometimes we're not perfect and we make mistakes, and there was a part that we played. And if there's a part that you played, it's probably a good idea to ask for forgiveness at this time. Whether they choose to forgive you or not, it doesn't matter. You are doing your part. Sometimes this visualization is not enough. Sometimes you may need to actually talk to that person later. But doing this will help create that space for you to be able to work through this. If you have to do it more than once, that's okay. But just know that your intention will help take care of it immediately and quickly and easily. All right, go ahead and take a deep breath. Let it all go. Now, give that person a hug or a handshake, pat on the shoulder, whatever you feel comfortable doing, and allow them to leave. Do the same for all of your witnesses, and then you can allow them to leave. When you're finished, open your eyes. You can come back and do that again and again. You can listen to this, or you can just do it on your own. It's very quick and easy. Sometimes you may feel like you only need one person to be your witness. Sometimes you may feel like you need 6. It doesn't matter. You can still choose as many people as you'd like. Don't be limited by your imagination. Let your imagination grow and be open to whatever you need to do. But it's always a just forgiveness, not a blame session. When you go into a space of blame, then you're not doing what you need to do. Okay, the next one I want to share with you. Let's see if I can find the right slide. Oh, here we go. And now I'm going to walk you through a visualization. Oh, you know what? I think I was a little behind. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Called Releasing the Bricks. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this visualization again. So I want you to close your eyes and just, if you're driving, you can't close your eyes, but you can still kind of see it in your mind's eye. I want you to realize that these bricks are things that you are carrying. This is your baggage. This is your emotion. This is the feelings, the beliefs, the stuckness. And so the following exercise I'm going to share with you are ways that you can start releasing this baggage. So I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to do a couple different ones. I wanted to wait till I had everyone on here before I chose what emotions that you were going to release, just because I can kind of get a feel for what we need to do. through inspiration. So let's do it. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to notice that you have some bricks in your hands. I want you to feel the weight of these bricks. And if you look closely, they each have a name written on them. They have a label. The first one is fear. The second one says not trusting. The third one says anxiety. And the fourth one says uncomfortable. Okay, so I want you to notice how heavy these bricks are. I want you to notice just a little ways off, probably about 20 yards, the Savior is standing there. I want you to carry these bricks over to him and place them in his hands and ask him if he will please take these from you. And he does, because he loves you, because he wants to help you, because he's here to make your burden light. And as you hand him the bricks, I want you to notice that they disappear and turn into light sparkles. If you feel like some of these emotions that you just gave to the Savior weren't just yours, remember we talked about emotional baggage that was from ancestors? I want you to imagine several ancestors right next to you carrying their bricks and handing it to the Savior, so it can heal your DNA and allow everyone to move forward. And then take a deep breath. And you can open your eyes. I want you to allow yourself to feel comfortable and joyful and positive and peaceful and assured that the future is bright and it's safe for you to move forward and to heal. All right, let's talk a little more about energy therapy. You know, sometimes healing is so much more simple than we allow ourselves to believe. Our human minds are often our blocks to progress. You know, sometimes we think, oh, well, I'll never heal that in this lifetime. Or, oh, I've been dealing with that for 6 years. Why in the world would I be over that tomorrow? It's just a belief. We hold our own selves back. Okay, Dr. Mehmet Oz said, as we get better at understanding how little we know about the body, we begin to realize that the next big frontier in medicine is energy medicine. It's not the mechanistic parts of the joints moving. It's not the chemistry of our body. It's understanding for the first time how energy influences how we feel. So, why did he say that energy medicine is the next big frontier in medicine? Well, to answer that, I am going to quote Dawson Church in his book, The Genie in Your Genes. And he says, techniques from energy medicine and energy psychology can alleviate chronic disease, shift autoimmune conditions, and eliminate psychological traumas with an efficiency and speed that conventional treatments can scarcely touch. Bruce Lipton, a renowned cell biologist and former medical school professor, offers an educational analogy. He says this: conventional medicine works with the iron fillings, whereas a deeper form of healing would attempt to influence the magnetic field. Most doctors don't see the field, so they're trying to figure out the relationship between the fillings without even trying to incorporate the energy field in which they exist. Okay, so scientists have created many machines to monitor our energy fields, such as biofeedback machines. But really, these are just fancy machines testing what is there that we can't see, which is the subtle energy field that surrounds our bodies. But the greatest thing is that you don't need machines to heal your emotions. You have all that you need with your intention and to help you quickly bring the subconscious conscious. And then you can clear the negative and leave your mind, body, and spirit with good positive energy and affirmations. So energy healing is learning to tune in to what these emotional blocks or feelings are that are buried inside of us, and using certain techniques to release them quickly and painlessly. In Romans 13:12, it says, "Let us put on the armor of light." If we harbor darkness, there cannot be light, but energy therapy is one of the ways to remove the darkness quickly. So many times people live their lives just barely functioning with so much unhappiness, but you don't have to live like that. There is another way. So, do you want to learn how to do energy healing for you and your family or friends or loved ones? That is why I'm here. Okay, so I created a 7-week course that will teach the following. Now, this is just a very, very short list of some of the things that I'm going to be teaching. And if none of this interests you guys, don't go away yet, because after the little business details, I still have some more for you. So hang on. But if you are interested, listen close, because I've got some really great stuff for you. So during this 7-week course, I'm going to be teaching. It's all going to be a webinar type base, and it's going to be interactive. And so I'll be teaching how to do muscle testing or kinesiology for you and other people. The gospel application of energy healing to your life and your relationship with God, the spiritual aspects of energy healing and how not to be tricked or manipulated, the 6 ways you receive inspiration, how to listen to your intuition and inspiration, how to tune into your body to find out what it needs for healing, how to balance and align your mind, body, and spirit, how to be an emotional detective, finding and releasing the negative emotions that are holding you back, the 8 main energy systems of the body, how to quickly realign them, how to recognize a false belief, how to recognize if emotions are generational, how to remove or change false beliefs, how to make and use positive affirmations, how to clear yourself in public, and how to work on other people, and how to do group energy sessions. So at the completion of this class, you will be a certified Lifeology energy therapist, and you can actually run your own business, or you can use it just for you and your family if you desire. So if this is something that interests you, I have an upcoming course that starts May 6th. Now, this is the second time I've done it. The first time was in person, had a lovely, awesome, amazing group, and I'm so excited to work with you personally on this next webinar. So it starts May 6th. Now, the introductory price for this is only good right now through April 2nd, and it's $800. And then it will go up to $1,200 after April 2nd. So if you want to register for the course, if you have any more questions, you want to learn more about energy therapy, any of those things, go to lifeology-energy.com. But if you want more, you want to just kind of talk to me personally and have a private consultation. I do 15-minute consultations just to answer any questions you might have. You go to the same website, and there's a calendar. You can schedule your own 15-minute consultation with me. So you find a time that works best for you and a phone number for me to call you on. And then also, if you just don't want to learn how to do it yourself, you're fine with what I've offered, and you want to just have a session with me and get your own stuff cleared, because you're listening to this audio, this is a one-time only deal. I will give you a discount of half off one regular price session with the following code: Travel Light. Okay, so you go to the website to book, lifeology-energy.com, and when you've booked, there's an option to pay for it there with the coupon code Travel Light, and it will give you half off. All right. Awesome. Now, let's go on. Rising to the stature of the divine within is a process of the body, heart, mind, and spirit. And that was Gordon B. Hinckley. Living a life with darkness holds us away from the light. But once we remove that darkness, we can fill it with light. Okay. So I want to close with a quote. But before I do that, I just realized I need to share my email address with you in case you have any questions. You can find it on the website, but I will also share it here. It's Liber, L-I-B as in boy, E-R, mom, M-O-M, the number 10 at gmail.com. Okay, so the quote is by Marianne Williamson, and she says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." I hope that you were able to get a lot of great information today that will bless your life and to help you to start to heal the emotional baggage that you might be carrying at this time. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope to talk to you guys more soon. Bye now.